So in this video, we're going to look at a problem that I'm having trying to create labels for some data, and I want to try to solve this using an array. So in this example, I've got city council data, and it's coming out of a layer that's actually maintained by an outside app, so I don't have the option to change anything in it. And the problem with the data is that all of the information that I want is stored in a single field. And so you'll see here, I've got the name, I've got the district they represent, I have their title, I have their email address, and I have their phone number. And it's all in one field. I need to split that out. What works in my favor is that they are delimited with a /, and I can use that / to split these values apart and put them into array, and we'll see how to do that. Well, first let's talk about what is an array. How do I set this up and how do I use it? Well, an array is a way to store multiple values in a single variable inside of Arcade. So each value is indexed, and you can retrieve those out by giving the array name and then in brackets the index number. And note that the indexes start with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. So the first is going to be indexed as 0. So to build this array, as you see here in this example, you would say, in this case, I'm going to make a variable equal to an array, and I'm going to define the size and make it 4. So it'll be 4 values. And then I would say populate it by giving the variable name a bracket, the index number in the array, and what value that index number will represent. And I've done that for 4 values. When I use the output in order to get this in my return statement, I would say the variable name, and then in brackets I would say the index number of what I want. So this would put out step 1. It would say step 1. Now remember, my city council data, all that data was in one field, but I need to pull those out separately, and I'm going to use that split function. We'll see here in a second how to do that. When I do that, these are the values. This will be index value 0, this will be index 1, this will be index 2, this will be index 3, and index 4. So 0 to 4, meaning that I have 5 values. So let's look and see how this split function is going to work. And we're going to use this and the / as the delimiter. Those two things will let us split that string apart. So the format is split, then we put the input text. That'll be the field that contains all that council member data. Then the delimiter, we know that's going to be that /, and then as an option, I can give it the maximum number of entries to pull out, or I can say also pull out disregard any null values. I don't want those. And I can put this into any array simply by saving the output of the split function into a variable. So I'm going to say variable myArray equals the split function, and then I'm going to give it the input and the delimiter. Now we know that these are stored indexing with a 0. So to retrieve the first value, we would say myArray, and then in brackets, the number 0. Now that maximum number of entries, in our data, we saw that there's 5 values. The last 2 are the email address and the phone number. And let's say we didn't want those at all. I could put in the maximum value to be 3, and would only pull the first 3 pieces out of that field. So here's what my map looks like, and you see I already have a label set up, and it's using that council mem field, and it's got all that information. It's also got that /, and that's what I'm going to use to pull these things apart. So let me go over here and configure an Arcade expression to use for this label, and I'll click the Arcade expression button. There's what it's telling me right now, and what I want to use is the split function, and I'm going to put that into a variable. So let's say var myArray equals, and I'm going to split here, split. My input text is that field, and then I tell it what delimiter I'm using, which will be the /, close my parenthesis, and then my return statement will be the value that I want to get. And I'm just going to test it here once. I'm going to do myArray and then a bracket and 0, and that should be the first value. And let me run this as a test. So you can see it pulled out the first name. I also want the third value, which is the second index number. Let me add that in. my array, and this will be index number 2. And let's see what we get. And there's the title. I want to put those on separate lines, so I'm going to add in the text formatting new line. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that went to 2 lines, so that's pretty good. I'm also going to put a trim in here so that it will take any extra spaces or anything off. So I'm going to do trim, if I spell it right, trim my array 0 plus the text formatting new line plus trim my array 2. And that looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like in the map. So there you can see it. Used that /, pulled out the things that I wanted. I've got the name and I've got the title for each of the polygons or each of the council member districts, and makes the map look a whole lot better. So that's all the arcade you can get for a penny. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and you'll be notified when new videos are released.